Hey guys, welcome back to the Project B-Ball podcast. My name is Akash Jain,
My name's Renee Manungi, and,
and,
and
uh,
for,
and today this is part one of two of our episode on the events that transpired in the NBA this past week. It was a pretty big week as the NBA got suspended due to coronavirus. What are your thoughts, Renee?
it was very interesting. So the whole events that happened during this week, like my first reaction was, it was like 6:30 or wherever on that day for me for my time zone. The minute I saw that, I was just like, in my mind, I was like, shoot, because it was coronavirus. I didn't know that Rudy Gobert got it, but I just like the NBA got suspended because of coronavirus, and my thought was just this season was gonna be over. Like there's no more other playing, and then we're gonna come back next season, right? So in my head, I was like, shoot, the Lakers, this is their one good chance they had a championship, and I was like, in my fan perspective, I was like, come on, we had this good chance, and now it seems wasted. And now next year the whole league is gonna be healthy with KD and Kyrie coming back, Clay and Curry coming back, all those teams, and it's just gonna be harder for us next season. But as more and more details come out, where like they said Rudy Gobert was having it, and then I'm like, okay, the players need the safety, and then Donovan Mitchell got it, and the safety has become a problem. So I commend the NBA for doing their actions very quickly, because this could have turned into a hazard, but they suspended it. It's for at least 30 days, and many NBA players are saying that this season will still continue even if it goes on to like August, which is pretty good, and hopefully the Lakers can still win it after a month of break. Akash, what's your?
You do bring up a really good point about the league being completely healthy next season, and I think I thought it was great that Adam Silver shut down the league immediately, just so that no more players would be endangered due to this virus. I mean, everyone's still learning the precautions that they have to take to avoid fatality during this virus. So it's great that the league was one step ahead of the situation and stopped play immediately. What do you think are some good ideas for the league moving forward after this? Like, do you think they should continue this season? Do you think they should start a new season? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my opinion is to continue the season even if it goes like in August or something, and then we can make it work. Like there's the draft and off season, obviously, right? And most players would love to have it back, but also I feel like these players have this competitive edge where one season where the off season gets kind of like screwed a little bit, they'll take it, because right now I'm thinking this hiatus, this 30-day break will count as much of their off season, right? And so then they'll count this as their off season, plus all the other stuff like teams need to do free agency, drafting, and all that stuff will happen soon. It's just like they'll take this 30-day break, and this season probably end in July, my guess, and then we continue from there. And then after that, every year we'll slowly bring it back to how it's formatted. For the next couple years, it's just gonna be starting a little later, but then it'll come slowly back into the usual October 2nd week slot. But I think next season is probably gonna start around November or something like that. And I think that's how they're gonna move forward. I remember earlier on they were thinking about making massive changes with like a mid-season tournament and stuff like that. I don't think it's in this type of situation where the league is the scheduling is going to be kind of weird. For a couple of years, I don't think any of those big major changes are going to happen. It's just going to be a smooth transition it's not going to be that smooth, but I think for a couple of years it's going to feel a little weird, but I think it'll get adjusted soon.
Interesting. That is definitely one direction that the NBA could go that wouldn't necessarily upset the fans. But another interesting direction that I was seeing people talk about, and I think it's pretty interesting, is that the top 7 teams of each conference are already in the playoffs, and then the rest of the teams have a little tournament in order to declare the 8th seed. And this is after all the players have been tested for coronavirus. Well, basically, this would start off with the NBA testing all their players for coronavirus and declaring which ones are free to play. And then after this, the top 7 teams from each conference would then be able to advance to the playoffs, and then the bottom teams would then compete for a spot in a tournament, tournament style. for the eighth seed, and then the playoffs would proceed from there. I think that's a much more interesting and entertaining idea, and it would actually keep the league on pace to finish by June, if this 30-day hiatus is like meant. So what do you think about that idea?
I don't like it that much because, like I said, I don't want things to be complicated when it's for right now in this transition round. Everyone, if like let's say we introduce style of play, right? Many of these elite teams like the Bucks, the Lakers, all these teams are dealing with their injuries. They're gonna be healthy, but they're not gonna have the there's 20 games left for some of these teams, and they need those 20 games to increase their chemistry going towards into the playoffs, obviously, right? And if they're just stopped and there's some 8-seed tournament going around, there's not games for them to play and increase their chemistry as a team, because this is like the vital point of the season where teams try to make the runs, try to make the adjustments.
Yeah, but they're already going on hiatus, so their chemistry already takes a hit. So I'm just saying it would be a bit more entertaining for the fans, along with keeping the season like making the season still end in June and keeping it on track. So that's how I was saying that might be a nice idea.
Of course.
A change. Yeah.
Of course, my question to you: do you think it's that big of a deal if the season ends in July or August? Would you mind that, or would you?
I wouldn't mind that. The thing is, it's just better that the players have time to spend with their families and stuff. Especially right now, when you made the point that this is part of the players' off season. I don't think it really is, as some players are being quarantined and stuff. Especially the players in Oklahoma, like Chris Paul. I don't do you think he would be allowed to go back to LA?
Yeah.
After everything.
Yeah, I see your point. Definitely, it makes sense. It'll be more like I think you kind of convinced me into liking your point a little bit, but so you're technically counting it like the lockout year we had in, was it 2012 or 2011?
Yeah, just shorter. Yeah, it's technically like a lockout season, except a battle for the 8th seed sort of thing.
Yeah, but so how would this 8th seed be determined? What were the best ideas people had for the 8th seed for each conference?
I mean, I'm not too sure, but I've seen people say that it should be tournament style, like how the playoffs are. That could be pretty interesting, and it would bring a different intensity, knowing that the Warriors would have a chance to be the 8th seed. So yeah.
Yeah. It really depends on how they execute this 8th seed thing, right? Because you don't want.
Yeah. It just I can see it going a lot of ways in which the NBA actually just makes their fans mad by this 8th seed thing. So that's why the safer option would definitely be what you said. But in order to make the players happy, I would think that this 8th seed option would be at least something to consider.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. I think I kind of like it, but it really depends on the execution of it. But I think the most predictable thing that's gonna happen is after this, I think it's gonna be a 1-month hiatus, and then I think the league is gonna come back and they're gonna end the season in July, and the off season will start after July. I think it's gonna be kind of a quicker off season.
I think they'll have a 10-game reduction at least. How many games are left to play for teams anyway?
I think 18 to 20 for most teams.
Yeah, they'll have a 10-game reduction-ish per team. That's the most realistic scenario, I'd say. They'd have a 10-game reduction. Obviously they would get every single player tested. I mean, that's number one priority, the player's health, right?
Yeah.
So after getting every player tested, they deem who's healthy enough to play, and then from there they would play the last 10 games of the season, and then move on to the playoffs from there. Maybe ending the season around July.
Yeah, that's definitely a good case for it. But do you let's say if the season were over right now, right? Let's say they're not gonna do any postseason for it, right? Why don't we just go through our awards for the MVP and all that stuff? Because let's say Adam Silver decides to let's not do a postseason, which is going to the next season, but he'll still give regular season awards to people.
Hello, Renee?
Yeah?
Oh yeah, just lost you for a second there. Yeah, can you repeat what you were saying?
Yeah, so let's say Adam Silver decides that this season is going to end right now and there will not be any postseason, but he will still award the regular season awards. you want to go down to who do you think who won it in this, let's say 3/4 of a season, or lot?
Sure. I mean, the way LeBron ended off, like capped off the end of the season, quote unquote, was quite magnificent. So I would give the MVP award to LeBron James. Next, we have the Defensive Player of the Year. What do you think about this one? The Defensive Player of the Year, Renee?
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna first talk about the MVP. The MVP is still Giannis because I wish LeBron had 10 or 15 more games to show something more. He didn't have enough moments. He had that great weekend, but he needs to. If he had a little bit more moments, he would definitely, it would probably go to his way. But it's right now Giannis. My Defensive Player of the Year is, I think, Anthony Davis. Clearly.
Yeah, Anthony Davis for sure. That's the name that I and my colleague had in mind. What else? What's the next award down the list?
Most improved.
Most improved. That's definitely going to go to Brandon Ingram this season.
Wait, I have Bam Adebayo.
Both good contenders. Bam Adebayo might be a little bit better of a contender as his team did better. But if you're talking about straight on who improved the most, it's definitely Brandon Ingram in my books.
Yeah, I think Bam Adebayo showed me the most from his game. Like, the thing with Brandon Ingram, the only thing I seen different from this year and last year, because I watched a lot of him last year, right, is that he improved from three-point shooting. Don't get me wrong, that's a good improvement, and he got more shot opportunities. Bam Adebayo showed me way different things. Last year, he was just a backup to Hassan Whiteside who would just catch lob dunks. This year, he's the facilitator for the team. A very good defensive player, good dunker, good offensive player, screen setter. He could do so many things for the team. He's the second best player on that team. Brandon Ingram, he's one of the best players on the team, but you can't. But he's not the clear number 2 or number 1. He's taking all the shots, so that's why I feel like there's an improvement on him. Bam Adebayo showed the most skill improvement. Do you see what I'm saying?
I would definitely have to agree with you in that regard, but I do think that Brandon Ingram really broke out this year, and I mean. It's definitely a tough call. Like I see where your point is, but if we're talking about straight, who blew you out of the park in like the first, like as soon as the season started, like Brandon Ingram was just like a changed player. If you really looked at him, like he was more confident, he was shooting more threes, and during a stretch of time, he was playing like an absolute all-star. So I do think Brandon Ingram, does deserve this award. So yeah.
Yeah, for the most improved player award, it's kind of like how they give it to a player is pretty interesting, because in the past you can definitely say a player got it after they got more shot attempts and stuff like that, right? Like CJ McCollum got it, Jimmy Butler got it, Giannis got it, because they got more opportunities to show who they are. And then, but I don't know if it has given to players who showed the most skill improvement, but doesn't show like the most like Bam Adebayo shows the most productiveness, the most skill improvement. If you add those two type of factors, then you can see like why I believe he's the most improved. Brandon Ingram has a good shot, so as other players in the league, but those two are definitely the top two. Akarsh, we're gonna move on to the Rookie of the Year. Who's your Rookie of the Year after the?
It's definitely close. However, I would definitely give it to Ja Morant, as Zion hasn't played as many games or been. Well, Zion's definitely consistent. However, Ja Morant just showed me a bigger sample size, and I'll definitely have to go with Ja Morant. However, next season Zion Williamson's definitely coming for that for some award for sure, because the way he's been playing, he's been dropping straight 20-point games for I don't know how many games in a row, and he's just been playing like an absolute beast. But Ja Morant for me for sure, as he played like the entirety of the season. So yeah.
Yeah, I give it to Ja by like a landslide. Ja's in the playoffs, and he's played the whole season while Zion came in the middle. Like
you can't really hold the playoffs against Zion, because Zion didn't play the entire season. So yeah. Okay, if Zion played the entire season, then I would hold the playoffs against him. However, like he only came in like what? How many games did he play?
He probably played 20.
14, right?
14.
I wouldn't hold the playoffs against him for sure.
But like, okay, there was like 60 games before the season ended. Ja played pretty much 56 or something like that. He played most of it. Zion only played like 20. Like there's
no, you're right on that regard. That's what I said too. John Morant gave us a much bigger sample size, and so I do think he should win. But you just held the playoffs against Zion, and I don't think that was like a fair point to hold against him. Because like that wasn't really in his control because he only played like 14 games with the Pelicans. So that's all I was saying. But anyway, yeah, John Morant for Rookie of the Year for sure. Next up we got the Sixth Man of the Year. Who are you gonna give this one to?
Sixth Man of the Year. I think there's a lot of candidates for this, right? On the top of my head, I don't really have a good I guess was Fred VanVleet starting from, I think Norman Powell probably. Norman Powell, of course, for Sixth Man of the Year is my option. If he's been coming off the bench, I'm not 100% sure on Norman Powell, but like I think he's been coming off the bench, and this is a career year for him, and he's helping this Raptors team win a lot of games. Of course, what's your opinion for Sixth Man of the Year?
I don't know. There's definitely a lot of people that have the skills and definitely performed to win this award. You have the main guy, Lou Williams. You have Domantas Sabonis. You have Montrezl Harrell. You do have Dennis Schroeder as well. These guys all played really good for their respective teams this season. You do have Norman Powell, as you mentioned. I don't know. It's definitely a tough call. But let's see. I'm not sure who I would give the Sixth Man of the Year award to this year. But, yeah. Do you have any ideas out of the people I mentioned?
Yeah, I like Norman Powell. I also like Dennis Schroeder was actually a good option, too. I think he actually should, because I think he's probably came off the bench more times than Norman Powell did. So I think he's probably our Sixth Man of the Year. You gave me a better name for Sixth Man of the Year. I think Lou Williams is not going to win it a third time in a row. It's just not going to happen. Montrezl Harrell has a good chance of winning it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my pick. I'd say Montrezl Harrell definitely has a good chance of winning.
Yeah. Next and final.
Okay, we'll do the rest of the awards on the next episode. So yeah, that's the end of the first part of our NBA suspension. What do you want to call it? NBA suspension special. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening. My name's Akarsh.
My name's Renee. Thank you guys for listening. We'll come back with you guys with part 2 for episode 8.